Well, ladies and Germans, how are you all doing? This is Over coming to you with some Company of Heroes 2 action as a 1v1 today on Crossroads between the OKW forces of Unknown Legend against the Soviet forces of the Brown Sheep. Now, the Brown Sheep is going to go and play Lend-Lease tactics, so I'm sorry, guys, I didn't know this was going to happen. This is literally a replay happening right now, so we're as close to live as we can actually get. Unknown Legend has three options for himself, though. Of course, he's got himself Luftwaffe ground forces, fortifications, and Feuersturm Doctrine. Now, a quick apology. I could not avoid this. I was going to bring you guys, I don't know, for some of you who watch my Steel Division stuff, you know this already. But last Saturday, not this past one, the one before, so about 10 days ago now, I was ready to record, and then my computer went, my Mobo just practically exploded, and it took me until now to really get back on for recording, so I do apologize. I hope you guys didn't mind me being gone for too long. But in any case, let's get right back to the action. No, you guys don't want to hear about my sob story anyway.
Needs orders.
So Penal Battalion is going to be the way that the Brown Sheep is going to go forward through this game. Meanwhile, Unknown Legend, well, he's going for a very standard opening. He's got both Sturm Pioneers and Volksgrenadiers moving up to the northern side of this map, looking to pick up this fuel point. And I don't know if the Soviets are going to try to engage that. It looks like they are. I think this Kubelwagen is going for a nice double fuel opening. He's going to have a slight advantage, I would say, early on. First engagement happening already between Sturm Pioneers and Combat Engineers. And Combat Engineers, of course, are going to fall back in the face of just unmerciless destruction. The Penal troops are kind of ignoring all of it, though. They're going to dive into this garrison and have a nice bit of a lockdown. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with this, but they're going south just to pick up this strategic point. So 2 minutes in, we're already getting a fair amount of action, a very uncommon action at that. Penal troops are moving down to the southern side of the map to take out that strategic point. Combat Engineers are less than half strength. And already we're seeing Volksgrenadiers are facing off with those Penals, and they're in better shape. Those Penals are still out in the open, so not pretty sights there. So it does look like it's going to be a double fuel opening for the Germans, and these Volksgrenadiers are going to do just fine against these Penal Battalion troops who are very much outnumbered and out-healthed, for that matter. They were able to force back the Sturm Pioneers, but this is still a huge, huge win for the German army. A third Penal squad coming on out, and indeed I think might be able to force back the Germans now. But this rather unique taking of these 2 points and then pushing on to take the fuel points, well, it's working out rather well for the Wehrmacht here, well, OKW. Kubelwagen coming on in, and I believe we're headed well on our way towards another balance patch pretty darn soon. So try to keep an eye out for that, guys. I admit I am just, like I said, getting back into the swing of things, so I do, you know, want to keep you guys aware of the moving and shaking of these areas. Kubelwagen will now be engaged by pretty much the entire Soviet army. Only ones that are not engaging him actively, these Combat Engineers over here to the southeast. Meanwhile, tons and tons of fuel pours into the German coffers. He's got his first SWS out already, and my guess, loosely, is that we will, in fact, see a push towards a mechanized regiment. He's got the fuel. I may not have the fuel income soon enough, but at the same time, he's got a fair amount of fuel. And I'm really hoping he's not going to go. He might just do it anyway. Oh well. Germans will get forced back, though. Their first Volksgrenadier squad going down to about 40% strength, being chased away. And in the meantime, they will pick up the first point VP on the map, so there is going to be some tickets going off over onto the OKW favor. And he's charging Sturm Pioneers, so they're just going to carve these Penal troops to pieces. Dear God. That almost never happens so abruptly. Jeez. So the Brown Sheep definitely taking massive amount of losses here already. And yep, there's the Mech Regiment. So he has lost both fuel points, but he will be able to bring in some good, hefty, light vehicles soon enough. Germans, in the meantime, will take and decap this point here at least. Maybe take... Nope, not going to decap that one. They can move up here to the north instead and engage these Penal troops yonder. And that's going to go very, very well for the Germans now as the Sturm Pioneers coming in. Might be a dead Kubel, though. No damaged engine, so surprisingly enough, he's not dead yet. Never mind, there he goes. So first blood to the Soviets, but it is not the cleanest of victories. Indeed, the Germans, like I said, do have the mech regiment up already, so we could see ourselves a lovely little looks pretty darn soon.
Has been permanently established as a
For me, I would really like that, actually. And indeed, I don't think he's going to go for a Puma. It makes no sense. And obviously not the Stuka Safus just yet. But we'll see. We will see, of course. Now, the trade-off for this, obviously, of course, is that the Germans will not be able to heal up their troops quite as effectively. Support package going on down for the Sturm Pioneers. You can see that right there. But remembering the relative firing strength between the two squads, between Combat Engineers and Sturm Pioneers, the Germans are going to do just fine with that. Now, Unknown Legend has decided to go for the Luftwaffe ground forces, so that's going to be kind of interesting. The Brown Sheep, in the meantime, he's going for a little bit of a Dushka 38. Now, Dushka is going to cause more than a little bit of issues for the Germans here, but with that looks coming in, might be able to keep things under control regardless. It is a 2-to-1 capital in favor of the Germans, at least for a few more seconds until these penals. Nope, the penals are not going to go for that position. Instead, they're taking that garrison. Probably a moderately better idea there. And Sturm Pioneers leave one of their number on the ground dying, and the other 3 rush back to base. Now, I kind of miss it from Company Führer's 1, where the medics would run out and pick up their fallen or their wounded troops and make them into your zombie grenadiers. That was a lot of fun for me. That was really cool. Liked that mechanic. Most grenadiers, though, will be outshot, especially if this Dushka's right here. Geez, that's going to cause a lot of issues for the Germans. But here comes that Lux, and the Lux is now on the field, and with that Lux, well, the luck for the Germans might be changing. Not immensely, after all. I mean, having both of these in Soviet control will basically mean this is a red position for a fair amount of time. Not insanely long, mind you, but enough. The incendiary grenade could have gone out, but no, instead it's just going to be a very light deflection here. And that Lux is doing a decent amount of work. The question is whether or not these penals are going to get in close enough for that, satchel charge. But no, it's going to be PTRSs instead. So while people complain about PTRSs, it's probably the best call under the circumstances here. And with 2 of them on the map fairly soon, this Lux should be deciding to back away before too much longer. You're going to start to take some real hefty hits. Tickled, of course, but hefty hits that kind of, happen over time. Unfortunately for the Soviets, that may not come fast enough. So while they're firing off rounds like crazy, well, this Lux is more than happy to trade for right now. Now he's lost a little bit of his verve for this engagement, but he's pulled the Soviets out of cover, and that's more than enough under the circumstances. Penal's moving down to the south, but double STG-44s are going to be more than enough to chase them away. They're going to get forced off. And Fallschirmjägers. Fallschirms have now been called out from the northern side of the map, it looks like. Wow, that's an area that nobody ever uses. That's fascinating. Satchel charge, in the meantime, blows up, doesn't do a whole lot, but Fallschirmjägers, this is a building that no one ever uses. So very nice to see that actually getting some play. Germans are still up 35 tickets here, so not too surprising if the first 9 minutes are moving behind us. But 477 to 443, we have a bit of a lull as the Soviets have just brought in the Tank Battalion Command, and that early fuel seizing by the Germans just continues to gain momentum. Fallschirmjägers are going to tear these guys a new one. Combat engineers are not going to be able to do much against this. I'm actually kind of surprised that they are moving closer still, but no, it's just fine. They take out 2 models already. Those guys are no longer inside the capture zone, and they are in the danger zone, my friends. They're not pretty there. Worth noting, there's a shoe mine right here, so are the Soviets going to get close enough to it, or will they notice in time? I don't know. I would almost like to see a bundle grenade coming out. Yep, there it goes. Bundle grenade coming out. The Brown Sheep not paying attention. It's going to hurt. Ooh! And there goes a squad, so he loses the PTRSs as well as an entire squad of penal troops. And that's devastating right there. And I think Unknown Legend has just taken a massive lead by doing that. Luckily for him, there's no explosions, and he realizes at the last second, oops, I'm traveling with the bodies of my own guys. Oh, let me do it again. finally backing away. Medical supplies completed, and the first one of those is going to be picked up already, I imagine. No? There we go. Alrighty, though. Volksgrenadiers are taking this apart up here to the north-ish of the map. And with that, the Germans are going to take a 75-25 kind of control off this map. T-70 being called on in. And with this Dushka here, it would be better for them to get away. And it looks like they're finally going to be doing that now. No, never mind. Dushka should really immediately... Oh, there it is. There's the AP rounds. Okay, there we go. So those are AP rounds. It's going to be a little bit better for him, but I still will not really want to be this squad inside of this garrison right now. Not least because he's getting super lucky the Germans are not pressing him from other angles. I imagine in the meantime he's more concerned about this engagement up here to the northern side as well. Pino's again fighting like crazy against these Fallschirmjägers and doing very well until, of course, he realized there's Volksgrenadiers on their flank. Meanwhile, down to the southern side, we see that Dushka is down to half strength. Though other Pinos are able to push back the Germans and seize this southern fuel point. Another half-track has been picked up, and very quickly here comes the best truck setup ever. So the Schwer Panzer headquarters, eventually, at long last, when it comes up to being an opportunity here, we'll see that this position will be decent enough. He should be able to cover the top of the hill, though it won't be a particularly great firing arc overall. But these Strong Pioneers have to back away. Yep, there they go. And the T-70 is chasing after them as well, so T-70 might be able to take out the Schwer Panzer headquarters if he's paying attention, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like he's tunneling instead. There goes the Sturm Pioneers. And this is a giant mistake. There should have been an immediate attack here, but no, it looks like this is going to get up in time. And with that, he needs to turn around quickly. Nope, here's a satchel charge. Might not be enough to take it out, but it's going to do a lot of damage. It's going to kill a couple models here as well. There's at least one model already. And now, with rear armor hits, it's going to allow that P2 to come on in, and that should be enough to take him out. No, he's not focusing on that. Instead, he's focusing on the penals. Ugh. Unknown, what are you doing to me? But you know what? He's in a very good position here. 12.5 minutes in, and he's doing just fine. He really could have picked up that T-70, though. That would have been a great, great victory. But he might be able to still do it. Main gun destroyed. He's going to chase after it. Super gutsy, and here comes the attempted satchel. Nope, never mind. There he goes. He's going to get away. But 9 kills to that guy. He's got star veterancy already. T-70's got one of his own. And very shortly, I think we'll see these newly minted Sturm Pioneers moving on over to fix up that bad boy. Germans are losing some tickets right now. Not that big of a deal. They're up 50. And frankly, they can pick it off whenever they want to. And yep, Sturm Pioneers are instead just repairing that Schwerpanzer headquarters. Good call. And the Soviets take this brief moment of respite to seize a fuel, to start taking back some of their own points. They were completely locked out of their own territory. That's embarrassing when that happens. 35 fuel for the Germans right now because they own half the freaking map. And they're going to be back to a 2-to-1 cap in their favor, at least for a short time, until the Soviets realize that this point right here is pretty important. Now, I am curious. Oh, wow. That is uncommon. Not often we see a combat package here. Usually you see the Shreks kind of stick over on the, how do I put this delicately? Well, you don't see them on it. You don't ever see Sturm Pioneers with Shreks anymore. You know, P-Grens maybe, but this is just so expensive. 90 for only one. Usually it's, 2 for 120. It's a steal at that point. I was waiting for this one model to move on over and to take incredible amounts of losses. Volksgrenadiers to the north are going to take a lot of firepower. And this is going to be super bad for them. Okay, here it comes. They're going to move and they're going to blow up. They're not moving. They don't know it's there. These Volksgrenadiers need to retreat, though. And retreat they do not. There we go. There's a couple of kills right there. And there go the Volksgrenadiers. Ah, that's why. They're waiting for this Raketenwerfer to get into position to fire that T-70. So beautiful shots happening already. And he should back away. I believe that's what exactly he's going to do. Yep, there he goes. Flushmaker's trooping on in. And where Unknown Legend, do I go for that, battle group headquarters? I think I do, because my troops are taking a devastating amount of damage. It is not pretty right now. What's more, I need to make sure I really start pushing out. What the heck was that? Floating garbage. Huh. Aerodynamic, who knew? This house right here is really holding me up, so I need to do something to take it on out. And with this big push happening of all these Soviet troops, I guess the P4, that would be a decent decision. And there it is. It's going to be a P4 coming on in for Unknown Legend. He's just waiting the last couple of seconds here for more and more fuel. And with that one mine going on off, well, now we have a combat engineer squad with mine detecting equipment. You can say they lose 25% of their firepower. It's really not that big since it's just one rifle. And most of the Nagant is not the biggest loss. Now, what is a big loss is that this garrison right here is still in very good position to hold up the German advance. And luckily enough for the Germans, well, these guys right here are in line of sight of that Shred Pencil headquarters. The decapped at that point, yep, they're going to get chased off. There they go. 2 kills, well, 2 guys left in that squad, and it could have been another pickup. It would have been a great pickup at that. But Incendiary Grenade, in the meantime, does force back that other penal squad, and that should mean a nice jumping off point to attack this garrison, but no, it's not going on. Indeed, we're going to see the Germans take a very cautious approach. Although now with this P4, they may not need to be so concerned. If I were he, I would just be leveling this house, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Meanwhile, P2 shifting on forwards. He should back up before he takes a satchel up the gut. But no, instead is going to be PTRSs, so not concerned about the fact that there's now a P4 on the field. Incendiary Grenade goes out, does move him out of cover, which means that P2's going to have a great old time. P4's going to even have a better time, geez. So out of green cover, back into yellows and reds. And those penals are forced away. Is this gun finally going to come on out because the support weapon Compania finally gets built? Isn't that lovely? But what the Brown Sheep is really looking for is his M4C Sherman. That'd be really darn good for him. Now, unfortunately for that, between the P2 and the P4 to kind of keep him busy, there's the Rakettenwerfer, there is Faust from pretty much everybody. It is not going to be pretty. And now look at this, so between the P2 and the P4, yep, that Dushka 38 might even go down. Shells exploding all around him and not actually picking him up. And with that, the Germans do get a 2-to-1 cap yet again. They are just finally now brought the Soviets below 400 points, almost 20 minutes in. But Obersoldaten are going to hit the field, and those guys are going to get a very, very quick LMG. Now here's the question, though. The Flushingmakers get a bit of a surprise out on... Yes, they will. They're hunkering down, so here comes that burst of fire. It's going to do tons and tons of damage. Grenade! There it is. Grenade. He's not going to get up in time, and there it goes. That squad's going to pretty much go down. There we go. That's a free Dushka. And Germans seizing that Dushka, well, that's great for the Germans, because that means at that point they don't have to worry about it being that MG-34. And again, big brother, little brother doing a lot of work here. Here comes the M4C now being brought on in. But those guys still have a very much an uphill battle. And one of the people on my list is just now playing Dynasty Wars. Haven't played that game in forever. Anyway, penal troops, 15 kills, might lose their lives, but they're looking for the 16th. M4C, they're going to slam around into the side of that poor P2. But he's going to realize the P4 is a more grave threat, and that's a good idea right there. He's got to really worry about that. In between now, the P2, the P4, and the attacking Fausts that are going to come out. Oof, is this gun announcing himself, though? So we're going back and forth. We're seesawing back and forth. We're on the playground, folks. Damaged engine, so brilliant, brilliant engine crit there. Now, unfortunately, they can't quite get line of sight through this thicket. That would have been amazing for the Germans. But he should be able to see him here, can't he? No, I don't think he can. He will see him now, though.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
And with the damaged engine, that might be enough to kill him. Yep, main gun destroyed. Yeah, he should be able to take him out. Is this gun not going to be able to force him on back? There's no artillery barrage, no nothing. But Captain Buffer, stop and fire, my friend. There we go. Jeez.
Our territory is falling into
And you know what? If he'd not been farting around, he would have picked him on up. At least to me. A valiant assault's been popped, though, by Unknown Legend, which is very interesting. T-70 charging on in. We're going to might maybe see. No, we're not going to see a Faust. That's not going to happen. Instead, we're probably going to see this the Captain Buffer get picked up. And yep, there it goes. It is dead. He is never coming back, Jim. The Germans have traded one anti-tank gun for a ton of time.
There are no reserves.
There are no reserves. What are you talking about, Willis? No, but again, here's the point of I think a battle group headquarters would have been a better call overall here. Just my thought on it, but that's how I feel. I'm sorry. Dushka 30 is going to come on out against this P4, and that's only a lopsided. That's only going to go one way. But I think the P4 somehow just missed the garrison. I saw a shell whistle by the edge of the house. Never seen that happen before. But 21 minutes have passed, and that machine gun's going to go down with one more round, I think, as we're super, super close. No, just barely making it out alive. As this gun is going to try to loft around to that P4 from long range. Will do a decent job, but only really suggesting he move back more rather than demanding it. And Unknown Legend, with that Jagdpanzer coming on in, and actually with these more medical supplies coming on out, he has signified his intent to ignore that final headquarters building. That's a move I can't really get behind. Caution makers, in the meantime, though, will continue to be quite irritating. But these guys are stuck right where they are, I would say. Cannot effectively get across an empty area. Okay, now they will. With the Volksgrenadiers entertaining from the front, this is a perfect time to charge in from the back, and there's an incendiary grenade to force them to move. It would have been perfect, but it's not going to happen any longer. T-70 doing some work, getting some fire out on that Dushka, but that P4 is right there, and it should be engaging him. He's not, though. How fascinating is that? Fallschirmjägers have the munitions, they have the technology, they're not doing it, though. They could be throwing out crazy amounts of grenades. Indeed, actually, by the same token, the Brown Sheep could have been going and bringing in another 30 fuel. Understandably, he's a little bit tense about doing that, considering that this punk down here, well, could be pretty darn good. How about stopping that resupply mission? Now, what I do want to see out, I prefer to have seen a Sturkos as opposed to a Jagdpanzer, but I suppose a Jagdpanzer under the circumstances is understandable. Just not really what I thought I'd go for. You can see right there, one shot, very, very long, does take out a good chunk of that health. And there goes the Dushka. The Dushka is not going to be working itself up to any kind of thing anymore. Though this gun is going to engage a P4 and suggest you move on back. Well, the Germans continue to have their tickets to get drained away from them. They are up about 30 right about now. And we continue just to see more and more of these dumb medical supplies being dropped on down. And I really think it's a waste. And there we go. Now we're not going to see the death. Okay, so no. Oh no, it did go down, but it delivered its fuel just before it did. So how lucky is that? More free fuel. There's another Sherman, and with that, now the Jagdpanzer makes more sense. Meanwhile, the Dushka 38 goes out on the hunt. He's hunkering on in. He's sidling on down. He's seeing his prey. This gun gets decrewed almost instantly. Well done there. And shockingly enough, this Dushka does not decide to go for armor-piercing rounds. It decides to back away instead. While the P4 does go and takes out the Zis gun there. So that's worthwhile, I suppose. But here come the Shermans. The Shermans are coming to play, and they're going after the Jagdpanzer. Good decision, I would say, since that thing only has one way it can shoot. However, between the Sturm Pioneers, which are probably going to go on down, main gun destroyed on one Sherman. Oh no, main gun destroyed instead on the Jagdpanzer. So that's not pretty. There goes the Jagdpanzer. Strong Pioneer is also down, and there goes the P4, and P2 is going to get wrecked. So it ain't easy being blue. In fact, I imagine the Germans are feeling rather blue right now. That's a big turnaround there. Jeez. Engine damage, but he's got to go and wait that long time before getting another Panzerfaust out, and even then, it might not guarantee to kill said Sherman. Unknown Legend is behind the 8-ball right now, then, folks, so he is not really up on veterancy. In fact, the armored core for his opponent is rather good. And now he's going to start throwing out Faust galore, which I don't agree with at this point. If you're going to go out for a Faust on that heavily damaged one, yes. But this dude's already got a damaged engine. He's not going to go any slower. And that is unfortunate indeed. The Hero Fallschirmjägers are coming back to the front. They have that 13 kills. Might be able to get close enough to throw out. No, they're not going to. Ah, no, here we go. Here's the Dushka that's going to save all things, believe all things, do all things. Forces back 2 squads out of the penals and does give the Germans an opportunity to not be the one, surprisingly, losing tickets at this point. They are down about 22 tickets, and that lead is only going to grow a little more hefty as they continue to find themselves not seizing this territory. This house looks more like a Jenga house more than anything else. Faust has been popped, but both Dushka and the captured Dushka and the Fallschirmjägers are going to back away. Good call. And the Germans seem to be stymied. What do we do, they say? Was werden sie tun? Now again, are we going to see that plane go down? Yes, it does go down this time before it gets the fuel off, so that is 100 munitions. 100 munitions lost for nothing. I honestly admit a part of me wants to see it crash down into something, because it does do damage. Recon flight, seeing where all the mess is for the Soviets. In fact, this is pretty much their entire army. One Zisgun out on the field, and, oh, excuse me, a capture of Raketten, and one penal squad out in the center part of the map. But you know what? They're just playing for time. They just want to make sure they can get some more fuel into their coffers. Here's another Sherman, though. So now Lend-Lease Shermans are just being poured out into the fields in just swaths. Or swathes. I think it's swaths, though. And it ain't pretty. But buckle up, folks. We got a long way to go. Dushka is going to go and engage from one direction. Being charged up front by Fallschirmjägers. Now get that 3rd star. LMG Obersoldaten, though, surprisingly, only have 1 star. They've been in the fight pretty much constantly. You see them all over the place.
We are losing supplies to the
And there's a
enemy.
Panther coming in. So Unknown Legend making, I think, what I would call a slight error. Mostly because I don't think too highly of Panthers, but that is always, as I say, just a personal choice. Real world, I would take a Panther any day out of the week and twice on Saturdays. In-game, I don't think they bear up under the extra cost. What's more, seeing 3 Shermans popping on out, you need to have some other Rakettenwerfers, or mines, or something. Because you're not going to be able to push them back with a single Panther. Might makes right in this case. But alright, so the T-70 in the meantime, he's creeping on the center part of the map.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
And yep, here it comes instead. These guys are going to come and bum rush this poor Shredder Prince headquarters. Panther's coming out though, so might be just enough time to come on in and get some good damage done.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
At least kill one of them. No, instead they're going after Strange. They're going after the Panther instead.
We are losing territory.
Strange. Very strange. Rear armor hits. Those flak emplacements are surprisingly good if they can do rear armor hits. And there goes one Sherman, so sacrificing a Sherman for no real reason there.
Suffering vehicle losses.
And there's a mine there as well. So the question is, will he go after the Shredder Prince headquarters? He will. But, if they're not careful, they might go and take this out. And that right there, I think, is a massive mistake from the Brown Sheep. He could have had an opportunity to go and pick up this poor headquarters. And had he done so, he would have just completely destroyed his opponent's means of production for quite a bit of time. And will he go down? Looks like he's going to get the fuel off at least. And he makes that alive. So that's 30 more fuel coming on in, which means that that next Sherman is getting closer and closer all the time. And where are the Sturm Pioneers? This is one of those things you really should be bringing on in. It's a big mistake in my mind to not be having that. There we go. Finally seeing another one coming in. I am sure, though, he's got... Yep, mech regiment. Yep, those are the mechanics. The mechanics are in, at least, so... These vehicles are getting some repairs, even if it's not amazing amounts of them.
The sector is at risk.
And the Soviets, even though they control 50% of the map, are slowly losing their chutzpah. Indeed, we are seeing the Germans will take the center part of the center VP, recapping and decapping the fuel to the southeast, although they will be sacrificing their own in the northwest fairly quickly because of it. But now, as the Germans are capturing the middle VP, more Dushkas are coming on out for the Brown Sheep. So not ideal, but could have been a heck of a lot worse. But these the Fallschirmjägers continue to just be unknown heroes, unsung heroes practically. And look, there is actually another Rakettenwerfer has come on out, so he realizes that the double Shermans there are a big, big issue. Just as also the Sturm Pioneers come on out to repair the ailing Schwerpanzer headquarters. Neither player controls the center part of this map, so it's just a 1-to-1 cap with the Soviets up 20 tickets. 31-30 in, and it seems like we've just gotten started, folks. We're going to have ourselves a bit of a hefty game. STGs are going to come up against Penal Troops 3 stars against 4-star Volks, and his 4-star Volks are not particularly healthy either, so I'm not feeling too sanguine about their chances. And a Satchel Charge comes on out and blows apart the little bit of railroad tie that's there. Unfortunately for them, that means that's another 18 seconds, 20 seconds until they have another chance to bring another one in. Which means this Panther should be able to really bother them. Not going to happen, though, instead. Dushka in the middle part of the map, he has gone and captured this VP, so the Germans are finally taking back tickets from the Soviets, but it's not perfect. Rakettenwerfer, in the meantime, is engaging against these Shermans that were in turn engaging the Panthers. It's such a back-and-forth kind of thing going on here. And if rear armor hits, okay, so it's not a brilliant time. Volk's Grenadiers do chase off Penal Troops, not that surprising, all things considered.
Enemy troops engaging us.
Oh, T-70, okay, never mind. I was like, vehicle under attack. I was so confused. But alright, so Rakettenwerfer's got a little bit of veterancy to him, but not that much considering all he's done is scratch the paint a couple of times. Means whilst Soviets have retaken the center part of the map, and, well, the Germans continue to fight the idea of having the battle group headquarters out and making free healing for all their guys, instead continuing to spend 30 munis a pop to get 3 healing chances. Meanwhile, this heavily damaged Dushka is able to go and pin down pretty much the entire Soviet army in the middle part of the map, though they are in negative cover, so I do not want to be them, and then see, because they're negative cover, it ain't gonna be good. They also not anticipating a Soviet garrison play throughout a bundle hand grenade. Unfortunately, did not work very well. And they definitely missed the opportunity there. Oh well. Allied supply drop, here we go again. And he's going to make it out alive, so more fuel coming on in, which means another Sherman can get brought in, so a 4th Sherman. Meanwhile, T-70 comes on in just to kind of secure points here and there. And I have to say, I'm a little surprised the Unknown Legend playing so cautiously. He's down yet again in terms of just raw ticketage. But he might be able to finally pick up this T-70. No, he's not. This guy's going to get away pretty easily. Meanwhile, the Shermans are going on a hunt. They've got 3 stars on one, 2 stars on the other, and they're going to be going after that Panther with everything. Firing all gears, all measures, you know. And Mechanized Armor Compania is now out. Not sure why he built the Mechanized Armor Compania. Seems a little bit muddled to me, but as opposed to each their own. Captain Buffer gets taken on out. Volksgrenadiers really should be backing off now as well. Do not want to take that AT gun, nor do they want to go and get taken out. That's 5 stars of veterancy right there. And speaking of that, there's a very odd mix of veterancy overall, with the Germans having a couple of super high veterancy units, but then having a couple of other ones that just kind of, you know, very fresh-faced, so to speak. Soviets have their own problems with their armored core being rather vetted up. But a couple of very wet behind the ears combat engineers who would know that their only job is to keep these vehicles in tip-top shape. A second Panther. Alright. I guess they think if one is good, 2 must be better. Not the best equivalent thought I've ever had, but okay, I guess that kind of works. Fallschirmjäger for some reason out in the open, and I think Unknown Legend is trying to bank on having a brilliantly engaged position here. As of right now, that brilliant position is not this one. However, these Shermans are going to find themselves getting carved to pieces. Rear armor hits, and now they're getting aggressed on by in every direction. So one more Rakettenwerfer. That's one. So they trade one Panther for one Sherman. Definitely a victory for the Brown Sheep, especially if he can bring another Sherman right now. Slight veterancy, although slight veterancy win for the Germans. Not a huge one, but a slight veterancy one.
Supply sector under attack.
And there's that 4th Sherman. Germans, in the meantime, engaging against those penal troops who are back on off. The center part of the map, though, the Stushkas are going to be trading back and forth, and it's going to go rather negatively for the Germans. Because the Soviets just have way too many models for it. And you can see it happening right now, they're getting forced away. But by the same token, down to the south, Panther's going to do decently well against these penal troops, even with the PTRSs in play. And one thing I'm a little disappointed about is that these mines have been placed, maybe not as aggressively as they could be. Here would be a good position. Here with the choke point would be an excellent position as well. But he is, to his credit, scavenging all the vehicles. Now, he crushed his own one, unfortunately, but at least he's scavenging vehicles. So some free fuel there. In the meantime, though, he's picking up that fuel back down to the southeastern side, which will put him back on par with the Brown Sheep. And I continue to say, keeping himself not... Oh, jeez. And is he going to go down? Nope, not in time. Not in time. 38 minutes in, 240 at 325. The Unknown Legend himself is going to fading further and further into obscurity. Though Sturm Pioneers and this second Panther are doing decent enough work against those innocent combat engineers. These guys were trying to take a strategic point between the Dushka and this, that was not going to happen. Down to the south, we will see the Shermans are aggressing on the Fallschirmjägers, and those guys are going to be forced to fall back. And I'm wondering why we aren't going to see a Fallschirmjäger deploy out from the rear of the Soviet position. Maybe not here per se, but that house up here again, the one that no one ever uses until this map. Yeah, call one of those in there, and then come in from the north against the southern position. You force a retreat if absolutely nothing else, and it would be a very, very effective engagement, I would hope. Well, he's calling in right now. Could have done a little bit better. But hey, he's going to use that as an opportunity to turn around and blow apart these combat engineers. The Brown Sheep does notice before they get perfectly aggressed on, though. Doesn't put down that explosive trap. Probably a good idea overall, since otherwise it would have been easily seen and just as easily exploded. Panther, in the meantime, kind of fires its rounds over at the Penal Battalion. Not going to do a whole lot. If T-70 makes sure that these Fallschirmjägers aren't going to hang around for dinner. But blobbing is beginning to happen here. The Germans kind of running out of move, it seems like. Although, I would like, at this point, to stay a Sugasafus.
Su-85 tank destroyer ready.
Having the Su-85 does make it much more difficult, obviously, but being able to blow apart all the infantry, at least, would make it easier for the Germans to take territory, just spread the map like crazy. Even if they get shot down in 1 or 2 areas, they have a ton of other opportunities to take around the map.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
We are seeing right now penal troops being forced back. Yes, they are, but at what cost? The Shermans, in the meantime, are charging after this Panther. And they're paying the blood price for it. Dear God, so we're counting for doing a lot of good damage. And not much damage really being done to the Panther. Up in the north, Dushka just kind of hangs on out. And he backs away intelligently.
Our enemy has only 200 points.
And that is a good point to recognize. The Germans are down to just 200 points. 325 to 199. Shockingly enough, the Germans, who had controlled the early part of this game so well, well, they've given it up. Right when he lost that P4, that P2, and a Kettenwerfer. There were 3 things he lost, all one after the other. Bang, 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 and that... Oh, the Jagdpanzer. That was maybe too much for him to handle. He is down 20 army supply to a very, very well-armed and armored Soviet force.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Interesting, so a very strange recon run. I think that's what he's looking for. He's trying to go and focus and aggress onto the captured Kettenwerfer. But under that note, geez, we're going to have penal troops coming down to the south while these Kettenwerfer is moving to the north. No, he's going to back away. So he hung out just for another couple seconds. He got a devastated armor assault. But that is not going to happen. But by the same token, the Soviets don't own it yet either. With the Dushka right here, it is not going to be a Soviet position. The Dushka is just surprisingly good overall. Fallschirmjäger squads shifting on in, being forced back. Those poor guys not knowing what they're able to do here. Pinned, and that's not going to be just enough because of that other Dushka. So the question is, will the Germans aggress quickly enough that they can take out that machine gun? And if they do, at what cost? Yikes. Pinned and taken on out. Was that the... No, that wasn't the prime of the life. Fallschirmjäger squad. The other Fallschirmjäger squad continues to survive. But wow. Some hefty losses right there. Another Jagdpanzer coming on out. I cannot agree with that Jagdpanzer. Again, I would say I'd rather go for the anti-infantry capability and have the Stücke fire its rounds and then retreat back into base. That to me would be a great opportunity, but I guess he doesn't agree with me on that one. Bundle grenade coming on out. This could be a huge, huge victory, and it is. 2 squads of combat engineers go out, and that is not going to be pretty. Although Obersoldaten taking a lot of damage as well. Panther going with a heavy crush, and he's going to do some good damage, aggressing as these Shermans. But here comes the Su-85. The folks grenadiers are waiting over here, just waiting for an opportunity just to blow a hole in something with that awesome Panzerfaust. Who's hanging out over here? So penal troops waited coming behind, perhaps? I could not say for sure. They have 28 kills. These got to Bandersons very early on in the game. But against Fallschirmjägers and Volksgrenadiers, it's not going to be good. I would say this is a perfect opportunity to use a Flammgranate. No, it's not going to happen. Instead, it's just going to be some engagements over here. So, the Kettenwerfer taking damage from one Sherman, and that Sherman does go on down. Another Sherman's aggressing, and that's not a good idea. Between the Kettenwerfer with the magic bullets of doom and the Jagdpanzer, there goes 270 fuel from the Soviets. And for the first time in forever, the Germans actually have an army size advantage. Now, of course, that's to translate into a map control, and they don't have that yet. So that's worth noting. Another M4C comes on out, and here comes another mission of mercy. And let's take a quick look from the opposite direction. Not seeing it. Alright, so he made it out alive. Alright. I just keep wanting to see that plane crash into something. I'm sorry, it's morbid of me, I know. LMG, almost forgotten. Here come the Volksgrenadiers. Incendiary grenade? No. It said it's going to chase him on out with rifle fire. Just as well, too. They outnumber them 3 to 1.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
The Captain Buff, in the meantime, he knows that there's somebody else out there. He doesn't want to aggress too far. But at the same token, he does have himself 2 kills. He's going to take this point. He's got to back off right now. Retreat he does. Good decision there.
Losing supplies to the enemy.
But he gets picked off anyway. Wow, that was a quick wipe. Panther Panza in the meantime, whereas he's coming back to the front lines. He was going back for a little bit of R&R. Only 6 kills to his name. He needs to kind of carry his weight a little bit more. But there is a core of infantry on both sides that is just supremely talented. Oh geez, that T-70's got to back up. And both tank destroyers should be able to see each other here. And they are. They're just going to start firing rounds back and forth like, bravely, really. Blitzkrieg tactics being popped? Yeah. And this is... Oh, it just fires the wrong thing. No! Main gun destroyed in the Sherman. Never mind, I take back a little bit of the problem that I did have with this. Panther is placed target while that Yacht Panther takes out the vehicle. Main gun destroyed. There goes the Sherman. Oh my gosh, that is a huge, huge loss. And now Brown Sheep's got nothing to his name in terms of really true armored power. And this is morbid, but this is one of the most beautiful things about this game is that they actually brew up. That's insane to me. I love that. Game's been out for what, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and it still doesn't. It gets me every time. I get all choked up inside, not just because of that smoke that's pouring out of it. In any case, Germans will go and take the northern VP. Here comes another supply attempt. He's gonna go. Yep, and he goes down this time. But again, that IL-2 goes on out of the map, so that is still a minor victory. Now, Fallschirmjägers, they'll hold their own, especially when they have support from LMG Grens. So they will take this point. Might even be able to take out that squad. No, they don't. But ain't no rest for the wicked, or the dead for that matter. And a booby trap has been triggered. That's down to the south, I'm guessing. I don't know. We'll get to that in a second, though. In the meantime, engagement happening still on the middle line here. This Dushka 38 getting a ton of experience as infantry squads just impale themselves ever so willingly.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
On the center part of its crosshairs, essentially. LMG Grant's trying to get close enough to throw a grenade. They're going to get it off in time, and the Soviets are not going to get out in time. So a lot of damage being done there. One quick burst of fire could take him out, but no, it's definitely going to get forced back by this other newly minted Sherman. And at long last, the P4 is coming back out, so it's going to be a Panther, a Jagdpanzer, and a P4 against what remains of the Soviet war machine. Now, to be fair, by the time the P4 comes out, the Soviets should have more than enough fuel for another Sherman, but the question is, will that be enough? 2 tanks against 3 MBTs is not how you want to be fighting most of these engagements. And run across a mine in the meantime, so that mine that's been there for such a long time, well, he does finally get something that becomes his. Although, unfortunately for him, it only has one model. I think that the model got taken out by rifle fire. Dushka, in the meantime, will seize the center position. An unknown legend who had been down for so long seems to be coming back up. And he wants the world to know. He wants to let it show.
We now have access to additional battlefield options.
Additional battlefield options? I'm not sure what other additional battlefield options there were at this case, but alright, if you say so. And now it will become a very, not brief, not even going to be a triple cap, just a 2-to-1 cap. And the Germans are going to take some more free fuel from this dead Su-85. And there's still this wreck over here, and there's still, oh, they're even taking munitions and stuff back from this bad boy right here. So more fuel here and there and everywhere. And here's this guy with one model. Okay, he's back in base. And really, I think the Brown Sheep is getting a little bit despondent. He's waiting for the next Sherman before he repairs anything else or reinforces anything else. I think that makes perfect sense. Still, it's hard to watch. There's another Sherman. Okay, so this is going to be his last great throw, I feel like. He's slowly whittling away the tickets he does have left. He's still up by 160 some. But that it doesn't look particularly great now, does it? Panther is engaging the Penals to the north, and Penals are going to aggress to try to get a satchel charge out, which will damage the engine, of course. But big freaking deal, right?
We are losing territory.
And now the Panther is going to go and just kind of back away, kiting like crazy. That's great for them. STG Grenz will also go and carve to shreds this Rakettenwerfer, pushing him into retreat rather quickly. Meanwhile, that Jagdpanzer do a good amount of damage to this Sherman.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
And at long last, we will see a battle group headquarters coming on out for Unknown Legend. Well done there at last.
We have an isolated sector.
We're coming up at 51 minutes here, 118 to 264. I realize it's been a long game, guys, and indeed there's been some misplays here and there, but all in all, this has more swings than a swing set. This is practically a playground level kind of a game here. Penal chasing away Storm Pioneers. Brave Storm Pioneers running into the fray, regardless of heedless of their own safety. But now we're seeing a blob of Germans coming on in, and it is not going to be easy to be Soviet at that point. They're taking a position up further and further, taking away this last VP and daring the Soviets to come after them. The Jagdpanzer off in the flank, Panther moving on forward, and the P4 hanging on back just to kind of play backstop here.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Oh, they're more than encroaching, my good sir. Dushka, though, has one guy way the heck out front, which was kind of funny for me, too. It's like, okay, how about you guys
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
be a little more safe there? No, they don't practice safe combat. Captured Rakettenwerfer, walking forward ever so stealthily, trying to get line of sight on something else out there. Not going to do too much, though. And with a trip cap now in the German control, Unknown Legend is going to start bleeding tickets well, far faster than Leona Lewis bleeds the love. Looking at what remains for the Soviet war machine, what are they doing now? Well, he's banking on getting more fuel coming on in. And he dies just shy of that, so the fuel does not come on out. He's got to call him more, cis guns, more something. As this is charging on in, Panthers against Shermans. And now, okay, wow, that's going to go and take a massive hit as well. Panther will go and take out one of the gadflies. Rear armor hits, big deal, he says. And this is going to be the death of the Soviets. Faust out of control. Tons of free fuel is out over here for the taking. The P4 now should be looking to take out this T-70. So Unknown Legend was behind for quite a bit of time. Looks like he's got things well under control and is now well on his way towards that W. And the Soviets, well, the Soviets are hunkering down over here in the corner, fearful, checking all around, looking for the Kraut. And ever so happy they're not running into him.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
Once again, this to me is an opportunity to have a Stuka-Safus. This also is an opportunity is, wow, so that's a mine right there, and now here comes a pin and a dead squad. Yep, there it goes. Even though I lose the Dushka on this one, that was more than worth it. Another mine goes right there. Okay, I didn't realize that. So one more model is going to get out alive. Yes, the lone model retreats back to base. The Dushka, though, will, from some of the Soviets, will pin and press back the Obersoldaten. So there goes that triple cap. But the Brown Sheep only has half the army that his opponent has got. And that is only getting more and more devastating as the Fallschirmjägers take the expansion munition away from the Soviets. This is a free munitions point.
Access to additional battlefield options.
That's just incredible. Alright. More fuel is trying to be called on in. Highly vulnerable, though. So if this goes down... No, he gets the fuel on off. Alright, so... There might be a whisper of hope. The smallest whisper of hope. Valiant assault, though. These guys are charging on in, trying to get inside the engagement of this Dushka. They will be able to do so. Incendiary grenade goes on down, does a lot of good damage.
attack.
And those Volksgrenadiers are just running like crazy all over the place. They are just training for that marathon, my friends. You know, to the north, Panther will go and engage PTRS Penals.
Sector has been cut
Big
off.
whoop-de-doo, though. And I would say it's fairly safe to say that outside of a huge, massive misplay by Unknown Legend, it's going to be a victory for him. Of course, we don't want to count our sauerkraut before it's vinegared, so let us just wait the last couple of minutes here. Penals are back in action. They're actually draining away some tickets from the Germans. And that ticket is now practically flat. About 15 tickets are going to separate the two of them. But with the Dushka now charging into the middle part of the field from the Germans, it will be a capturing advantage for them. And they own, like, what, 85% of the map?
Enemy armor firing.
Okay, T-70's going down. This poor guy. And that's death.
We are suffering vehicle losses.
Sherman, in the meantime, gets picked on up. Even before the Jagdpanzer gets repaired, they're like, oh, no, sorry, fuel's more important than you are. Forget it, boys. And the Obersoldaten are putting on out that lovely, lovely booby trap.
Ready for action.
I always forget about Fieldcraft.
The enemy has
awesome.
taken our supply sector.
Now the Dushka comes on in, and this is the last act of a desperate man. Dushka's not going to do anywhere near enough damage. Even the Zis guns at all are not going to do enough damage. And here's where you send another Fallschirmjäger squad in and around. You pop it out from someplace insane. And just kind of loop behind and start taking out these AT positions. So you know they're there. Really just the question of how close you want to get to them. Fallschirmjägers and STG Sturm Pioneers will do some good damage to these Penals. And these Penals, these guys have been champs. He's 35 kills. And they're going to take the center position back for the Rodina. But they realize that it's not a tenable position. They're going to back off as the Germans now finally take a lead in tickets again for the first time in a very long time.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
It's just going to be that way for the rest of the game, I kind of feel like. Dushka's galore being called on, and Soviets seize a point, Germans take another point, and the Soviets can't protect all of them at the same time. So therein lies the rub. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know why he called in the Dushka. He could have called in another Sherman in about another second or two longer. But hey, that's their own decision, right? Would have been a Blindkopf. But no, it doesn't decide to go for that. The captured Dushka, though, does some good work and go and pin down his opposing number. Of course, he gets suppressed one burst by himself, so not the most sterling of reviews right there. Though this will inspire the Soviets to retreat. But, okay, position after position is getting flanked. Incendiary grenade? No, no incendiary grenade. Instead, it's going to be rifle fire like a boss. And there is the LMG squad coming right back on the other side. So here comes a bundle grenade going out to that machine gun crew, and it's going to do devastating damage. Okay, less devastating than I thought, but still pretty darn good. Might be able to decrew this. Yep, they decrewed and killed that last model. And now we're going to see the Ziscon probably take a similar fate. No, bundle grenade going out against the Penals. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Smoke grenade. Interesting. That was not expected. This gun gets decrewed. Yep, there they go. And the Soviets back away in disorder. P4 doesn't want to see this guy take any more German armored lives, so he's going to try to take it out as soon as possible. Not going to be easy, though. If I were the Germans, I'd be throwing an incendiary grenade on top of this position. So if nothing else, even if I take damage to do it, I am not losing that gun again. Well, luckily for the Germans, though, they have armor to spare, so the Panther comes up to help its little brother and take out that AT position. It's all over the grind, folks. We're going to see both of these AT positions, excuse me, machine gun positions, try to put fire out on this P4, and are they both, either one of them using? No, neither one of them are using AP ammo. Instead, it's just this penal troop, which now gets taken on out with a free PTRS on the ground. That's doing any kind of damage to the German armor. And this is just that this is over, guys. I speed this up so that way we don't have to watch this go on for too much longer. There's that final, like, little FU dive. So there goes one machine gun. Wow, he survives. How did this machine gun survive? That just blows my mind. But another Sherman is out, so at long last, we will see some armored vehicles.
We are down to 75 points.
A little bit shockingly, though, that Sherman is just going to hang out over here instead of leading a death or glory charge. I guess all things considered, really not a good idea to be engaging anyway. Combat engineers go down, and that's going to be all she wrote, folks. Yep, triple cap. We're going to just let this play out the last couple of seconds. If the Sherman comes in, we're going to slow it back down to see the engagement. But I don't see him doing much other than just dying. He will impale himself obligingly on the Jagdpanzer, and the Jagdpanzer will get a lovely little bit of first strike capability because of it. So the Panther gets a little bit damaged. Excuse me, the P4 gets a little bit damaged. But that's it. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I am so happy to be back casting with you guys again. It's been way too long, and I feel awful when I don't get material up for you guys. So actually, I have to apologize to Jesus Christ. I got a chance to do your game because my MOBO crapped out. And K-Pen, you as well. I wanted to get a couple of your games in, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen because of the patch.
The enemy is about to defeat us. We have only 10 points remaining.
But thank you guys so much for tuning on in. The end score is going to be 112-0. Exactly 1 hour and 2 minutes into this game, Unknown Legend takes the victory. The Brown Sheep, despite having him against the ropes for the longest time, is going to find himself relegated to Siberia and the Eastern Front. But that's going to be it for me today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, this is Con Ulrich, and I'll see you guys all soon. Take it easy.